Hello, welcome to the video lecture series presented by St. Andrews Institute of Technology and Management. My name is Ravinder. I am an assistant professor with ETC department and we are discussing the subject Data Structures 2 or Advanced Data Structures. And in the series of lectures for this particular subject, we are discussing a broad topic called graphs. Now, yesterday in the last lecture, we have discussed a technique to traverse the whole structure called breadth first search. And now in this lecture, we are going to discuss a different approach or different technique to traverse the whole structure called depth first search. So now let's start. Now, depth first search. Uh, in this approach, we will not visit each and every neighbor of a particular node called I. So as you can see, we'll start with a node called I, and that I node could have any number of neighbors, and I will name that any particular neighbor with the name J. In breadth first search, we have devised a technique, or we have used the technique that, according to BFS rules or algorithm, we have to visit each and every neighbor of I, that is for each J. Now, in this type of technique called depth first search, we are not going to visit each and every neighbor of I. That is, we are not going to traverse each J. We are going to select a particular J and then suspend the exploration of the node I and put that particular node I onto the stack, so as we can come back and explore the remaining number of neighbors of I. Let's say I is a node and it has two neighbors called, let's say j equal to let's say 5 and j equal to 6. So first I will not visit each of the neighbors of I, that is let's say 5 and 6. I will pick 5 and I will suspend the exploration of I for the time being. That is, I will put this particular node I on a stack and then I will explore the neighbors of 5, that is which is one of the neighbors of I, and for that particular 5 node I will see that it has some number of neighbors if it has, and then again I will choose one of the neighbors if it has not been visited yet, and then again I will put that particular 5 node onto the stack and I will keep that doing until I will reach a particular node for which all the neighbors are already visited by one or the other node, and then I will go back and check out the stack, and from the stack I will keep popping out one of the nodes and start traversing them from where we have left. Now what I have just told you has been written there. It may sound haphazard right now, but in the next slide we'll look in a graphical way, in a more intuitive way, and I will try to make you understand what I am trying to say. For time being, let's just read this particular slide, which I haven't read the remaining part. So we have read until this second point, and next I will continue till I have reached a vertex with no unexplored neighbor that I have told you. I will at the end point I will reach a node which has no unexplored neighbors left. Then I will backtrack to the nearest suspended vertex that still has an unexplored neighbor. Let me remind you that we don't have to worry about which one is the nearest suspended vertex, because when you push something onto the stack, we know that the last in will be the first out. So the most recent one that you have pushed onto the stack, that is a node which you want to explore at a further point in time, will be the first one to be picked out and will be explored now. If it has any of the neighbors to be explored left, if that nodes all the neighbors are explored at this point of time, we'll just pop it out and we will leave it there, and we'll then pop it out the next node candidate which is on to the top of the stack, and then we will start the procedure again to look for any of the unexplored neighbors. So we'll see that in more intuitive way. Let's go back. Okay, so let's start. Now this is the same example that we have taken before, and let's say this time I will start with this particular node called 4. Uh, Let me remind you that again, you might be confused with the word node or vertex. Again, I will tell you that node and vertex are the same thing. Sometimes I use the word vertex, sometimes I will use the word node. You must keep in mind that I am referring to one or the same thing. Okay, the 4 is a vertex or a node, as you can say that. So first, as I am starting with the 4th node, I will first mark it as visited. Okay, now I'll look. Now this is I, as I have in the previous slide, we have referred to a node as I. Now I has value 4. Now this I has, let's say, 3 neighbors. One is 1, second one is 5, and third one is 8. You can pick any one of them. I will pick first for now. Okay, so I will mark it as visit, and when I have chosen this particular neighbor of 4, for the time being I will suspend the exploration of 4th node, and I will push this particular node onto the stack. Okay, so I have moved on now. Understood? Now I will look to the first node or the first vertex, and I will look all of its neighbors. First I will look the number of neighbors, that is 2, 4 and 3. Now 4, as you can see, is already been visited. Okay, so I will not go into that. We have an option between 2 and 3. You can choose any one of them, so I will choose 2 now, and I will mark it as visited. And as I have moved on to 2 from 1, now I have to suspend the operation of 1 for now and push it onto the stack. So I've pushed it onto the stack. Just please pardon my drawing and writing, because I am drawing and writing with my mouse, so pardon me please. I think you will get the idea what I am trying to do. Now we are at the node or vertex 2. I will look to the neighbors of 2. The 2 has a neighbor called 1. Now 1 is already been visited, so I will not go into that, and I will have only one option left called the third node. So I will mark it as visited first. Okay, and now as I have moved on to node number 3, I have to suspend the exploration of 2 for the time being, so I will push that also onto the stack. I will push that onto the stack. Now we are on this particular node 3rd, so let us look to all the potential neighbors of node number 3rd. First is the node number 1, which we have already marked as visited. so there is no need to go there. And then the neighbor named as 2, which has already been visited, as I have marked it here. So now we can move on from this particular node 3, as it has, as I have told you in the last slide, if we reached a particular node which has no unexplored neighbors left, so then at this point of time we will start the exploration of the nearest neighbor which we have left for exploration at some point of time in the past. So in the past I have left at top of the stack, we have node number 2 which we have left, or which we have for which we have suspended the exploration. So I will take out 2 first. For 2, let's say how many of its neighbors are not unexplored. Now for 2, we have 2 neighbors called 1 and 3rd. From 3rd we have just came back, so there is no point. And the other neighbor 1 is already being visited. So 2 node has no unexplored neighbors left. So I will remove this from the stack. So let's remove this particular, there it is. Now let's get back to 1. Why I'm getting back to 1? Because now if I look from top of the stack, this is the top, let's say 1 is at the head of the stack, or at the top of the stack. So we'll come to the first node or vertex. Let me figure out how many of its neighbors are still unexplored. Now it has 3 neighbors called 2, 3 and 4, and as you can see all of these are being explored. So we can remove this particular from the stack also, because it has no new information for us. Now we'll go back to the top of the stack. Now at this point of time we have 4th node at the top of the stack. Now let's look at all of its neighbors, which of them are still unexplored. Now 4 has 3 neighbors called 1, 5 and 8. Out of them 1 is already been visited, so I will not go into that, but we have 2 unexplored neighbors called 5 and called 8. Now we have to start this procedure again, which we have done earlier at the starting of this slide with 4th. Now again I have to choose between 5 and 8. Whichever you can choose, it will make no difference. Let me tell you that at the end point we would have traversed through each and every node, but in what order entirely depends on which one of the neighbors will you choose. That is it. So I'll choose 5, and when I have chosen 5, I have to push the 4th back onto the stack. Sorry, I have not omitted it in the last step, but again we have pushed 4 back onto the stack. Actually it must have been removed when I have explored 4 and again pushed back. Okay, so you must not do that particular mistake. And I will mark 5 as visited. Now for 5, again same procedure. I have to look to all of its neighbors and choose one of them which are still unexplored. Now for 5, 4th is already been explored, already been visited, so I will not go into that. We have 2 options, either 6 or either 7. Let us choose 7, and when I will choose 7, I have to push 5 onto the stack, because I have now suspended its exploration for the time being. So 5 is now onto the stack. Now we'll look at all the neighbors of 7. So 7 has 2 neighbors. One is 6, and sorry, I haven't marked it visited. Now 7 has a node neighbor called 5, which we have already visited, and other one is 6, which is still unexplored. So I will now move on to 6, and as I will move on to 6, I have to suspend the exploration of 7 for the time being. So let's put it onto the stack and mark 6 as visited. Okay, now for 6 we have neighbors called 9, 8, 7 and 5. Now 5 and 7 are already being visited, so we have two options left, either node 8 or node 9. Let me pick node number 8 for the time being. Now as I have picked node 8, I have to suspend the exploration of 6 for the time being, so I will put it on the stack. There you go, 6 is there. Now for this particular this particular 8, let me mark it as visited. Now this 8 has the neighbors called 4th, which is visited, 6th, which is visited, and 9th, which is not been visited yet. So we have only one option left. So I will go to the 9 first and suspend the operation of exploration of 8th. So I will push that 8 onto the stack and I will mark 9 as visited. Now let's head back to the 9. Now 9 has 3 neighbors called 6, 8 and 10. Now 6 has already been visited, 8 has already been visited, so we have only one new information called 10th node, and as I will move on to the 10th vertex, I have to suspend the operation of exploration of 9 for the time being. So I will push it onto the stack and I will mark 10 as visited. Now as you can see, we have visited each and every node. Okay, but this particular thing is what we are viewing graphically. Computer still has to explore each and every node back again. Now we are at 10, so let us explore its neighbors. It has only one neighbor called 9, which has already been visited. Now so we have to remove this, but so we have to move on from 10 to 9, its nearest unexplored neighbor. Okay, so now we are moving to the top of the stack and where we have 9. Now let's look at the 9, and first, if we are looking at the 9, we have to remove it from the stack. So we have removed the 9. Now 9 has two neighbors called 6 and 8. Let's say which one of those are still unexplored. Now 6 has already been explored and 8 has already been explored, so we have nothing left. Let's go back to the top of the stack. We have 8th node now. Now this 8th node, we have to check how many of its neighbors are still unexplored. Now 8th has a neighbor called 9, which has already been visited, 6 already been visited, and 4 already been visited. So we can remove this particular one also. Let's go back to the top of the stack now. For 6 we have 5, 7, 9, 8, and I think all of them are visited. I'll remove that also from the stack. For 7 we have 6 and 5 that has already been visited, so I'll remove that from the stack also. Let's go back again to the top. We have node number 5th. It has 4, 6 and 8. All of them are already been visited, so I'll remove them also. I'll remove them also, and we have one node left called 4. 4 has 1 already been visited, 5 already been visited, and 8th already been visited. So we'll also remove that from the stack. And now, as you can look from top of the stack is empty. So the system can conclude that it has traversed through the whole data structure. And now we have visited, we can signify, or we can concur that we have visited each and every node or vertex of the graph. This is the strategy we will employ in depth first search. So let's look to the algorithm. Now we have already understood its function. Let's look to the algorithmic view of the idea. So this is what we have looked just right now. And DFS, let's talk about it for a few seconds. DFS is most natural to implement recursively. So what I'm trying to say in this slide is that we will implement this particular strategy recursively. You will see that in the next slide. And by what is the let's say um, good thing about implementing it recursively is we don't have to maintain a stack for that. We don't have to maintain a stack for that. Without maintaining that particular stack, you can still apply this particular algorithm. Let's move on to the algorithm now. So this is the algorithm for depth first search. First, we'll initialize a initial vertex, say j, which could be any one from the n nodes or vertex available to us. And I will mark at initially we have no visited j available, and the parent of j is -1. So stack is basically is empty. Now we'll go inside the function, and I will provide a formal parameter or pass an argument as the initial vertex from which you want to start the traversing, and I will visit or mark it as 1 as we have done in the previous slide. If I have started from the fourth vertex, as in the example that we have taken, first I will mark it as visited. Now I will start the loop. For in the loop, I will go through each and every neighbor of that particular tuple called ij if a particular neighbor is not visited. Okay, if particular neighbor of I is not visited, say j, so we'll go inside this particular conditional block, and I will mark the parent of j as I. Okay, now and again employ this particular algorithm for j. So this is the recursive part. Now when we'll get here, we will go exactly here. And now instead of passing I as the parent, I have passed j as the parent or the starting node. For that, first I will mark this particular j as visited. Okay, and for that particular j, I will look out for its neighbors. If any one of its neighbors is not explored, or the first one which we will reach, I will mark the particular I as its parent. See, let's go back. What I'm trying to say is, if I've started from the fourth one, I will pass the function parameter called as fourth, and I will look. First, I will mark it as visited here, and then I will look to the combinations of 4 comma, that is I comma j. So 4 comma 1, 4 comma 5, and 4 comma 8 are the possible. We have the possible conditions, and if any one of them is already been explored, so we will not go inside the will not go inside the conditional statement. So if any of the visited is not equal to 0, we will not go inside this particular conditional block. I will go back to the for loop. See, and if any one of it is not visited, so we'll go to this particular node, and now the parent will be marked as fourth. So parent will be marked as fourth, and now we will again call the function of DFS, and this time I will pass the initial node as 1. So from here, from fourth I have moved on to 1. Okay, the parent which is initially -1 has now contained fourth, and at this point of time here, the DFS will have the argument 1 instead of fourth. So we will go here. For 1, we'll first mark 1 as visited, and for all the possible connections of 1 called 1, 4, 1, 2, and 1, 3, we will look how many of them are not visited. If any one of the neighbors has already been visited, which in this case is 1, 4, we will not go inside the this particular conditional block, I will go in the loop for 1 comma 4, we will not visit this, or 1 comma 2 will go here. Now 1 is the parent, and again DFS will be called for DFS, and this time the starting जो vertex है आपका वो क्या आपका 2 होगा. So this will go on recursively and you will not need any stack. Okay, this is the easiest implementation of depth first search. So we'll look to the complexity of the depth first search. As you can see, we have to go to each and every node once in the single iteration, and for each track back, that is every time when we will pull something out of the, or we can say pop something out of the stack, we have to look to the each and every neighbor. And if we have implemented that particular algorithm called DFS with the help of adjacency matrix, you can see for each particular node I have to look for each and particular column if that particular thing is its neighbor or not, and if that is its neighbor, whether it is visited or not. So you can say for adjacency matrix, the overall complexity is order of n squared, n being the number of the nodes, and if we implement the list, the order will decrease, that is complexity or total time taken will decrease from total number of nodes plus total number of edges. So with the help of adjacency list, we have decreased the time complexity of this depth first search algorithm. So we'll stop this lecture right here. Thank you.